Hey, gorgeous. Welcome to Season 2 of the Hormone P.U.Z.Z.L.E Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Kayla Smith, CEO of the Hormone P.U.Z.L.E Society, a women's health hub for fertility, hormones, and the business of coaching, creator of the Hormone P.U.Z.L.E method, an infertility warrior, two-time boy mom, and women's health expert. This podcast is for women struggling with infertility, painful periods, terrible PMS, or really just any symptom of hormone imbalance that they are ready to eliminate for good. Tune in weekly as we interview amazing experts in the fields of women's health, breaking down those hormone walls, nerding out on nutrition, and having way too much fun. Whether you're beginning your journey or you've been struggling for years, we're going to finally help you put those pieces of your hormone puzzle back together so that you can get pregnant and eliminate those pesky symptoms for good. Are you ready? This season is packed with even more expert guests sharing groundbreaking knowledge, giving you that jolt of energy that you so desperately need, sending you lots of virtual hugs, and inspiring you to take your fertility into your own hands and make that baby. Thank you so much for tuning in. Now let's get started on your road to transformation. On today's show, I talked to Tara Brandner. She is an experienced doctorate family nurse practitioner and now a fertility coach working with patients worldwide. She received her master's and doctorate degree from George Washington University and has received an additional certification through the American Society of Reproductive Medicine. After enduring a long road through infertility followed by a traumatic pregnancy, she turned her hurt into hope for others. Tara offers a personalized approach to infertility care to help you get unstuck and avoid the fertility journey's common pitfalls. In addition, she provides services for a peaceful pregnancy after infertility. She has combined her experience as a healthcare professional and personal struggle to help navigate infertility couples through their family building path. On today's show, we talk all about the difficult road to infertility, how you can partner your Western medical side and your Eastern medical side to form a fully comprehensive fertility team, and some practical tips on how you can optimize your fertility holistically. This is an amazing show. I cannot wait for you guys to hear it. And at the end, we talk all about becoming a fertility coach and practitioner. So if this is something that you've thought about doing, this show is for you. So let's welcome Miss Tara to the show. Hey, Tara, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
I would love to hear more about you. Can you tell us your story with infertility and kind of how you started working in women's health?
Absolutely. So I am a doctorate nurse practitioner, and I started my infertility when I was actually in school to get my degree. Like most, I thought I'll just finish school, try naturally. The magical year rolled around. We did have a miscarriage in the middle of that, and my medical mind started spinning. I was met with resistance by a provider about 2 months after that miscarriage. Something just didn't feel right to me. Like something had to have been off. There's no family history. I had no diagnosis indicating that we shouldn't be able to conceive or that a miscarriage could happen. So 2 months after the miscarriage, I switched providers and she directed me to reproductive endocrinology. So that's about 1 year in of trying naturally, followed by miscarriage. I then moved into IUIs. I feel like I could write an entire chapter of a book on our third IUI. I should state I was not open about my journey. Like I shared with nobody, worked in a 6-person clinic, told nobody. When I did eventually tell, because I had to during my third cycle, because I needed time off of work and I work in a profession where we do call coverage and there was nobody. So I had to open up about why exactly I needed this specific date and time off to get coverage. that was when I found out my secretary was actually going through miscarriage and infertility treatments at the exact same time.
Wow.
We then moved into our third IUI with injectables, failed. We were defeated, exhausted. We both decided a break needed to happen. So we took a few months off. We learned some things in the middle of that, and we actually did a consult with a new clinic looking at IVF. We did move to the new clinic. We moved into IVF, and in the middle of that, we had a transfer canceled, and due to, lining and lab work and all of that. And so took another little break. It was financially and mentally exhausting. Eventually we did do our transfer. We did do genetic testing, and we had 2 genetically normal embryos, a boy and a girl. We moved and transferred both of those at the same time. And today we have a healthy 3-year-old.
Yay.
I like to say my journey did not end when I became pregnant. It was really interesting. Everything I felt and went through, you would think there'd be excitement and joy and happiness with pregnancy after, but no, I was met with worry, and I don't remember. It was literally close to 30 some weeks that I first felt excited. And at 32 weeks, I woke up with a bleed. So I had a placenta abruption, was helicoptered out to my OBGYN, and thankfully it had resolved. I did have to live away from home for 4 weeks. I do live 120 miles from my OBGYN in a rural setting. So that was a whole new interesting experience. He was born at 39 weeks via C-section. And so it was like trauma after trauma after trauma that I was met with. So I remember sitting and holding him when everything had kind of settled down. I was on maternity leave, and my new journey through infertility, as I call it, kind of started at that moment. I shifted into what can I do as a provider. I had some health policy background experience, and I shifted my focus on helping others. And I started working towards legislation and increasing access to care for those with infertility and fertility preservation. And I've been doing that ever since 2018. And so I started the first and only nonprofit in North Dakota and South Dakota for those with infertility to really provide support, because I had none. There was no support groups. There was no resources, nothing. And so I've really built that up since 2019. And naturally, I have now switched my professional focus to helping others as well. So as a nurse practitioner turned fertility coach, to really help the medical side that I saw lots of gaps and missing links in, going through infertility followed by pregnancy after infertility. It's like this weird transition that happens medically, mentally, physically. And so just really shifting my professional life to being able to help others navigate this new and rocky road that they encounter.
For sure. I love that. And I find that so many of us, we had our own struggle with infertility, and then we kind of decided, how can we help others through theirs? So I love that you have, you've done that, and you've made such a difference in the short amount of time that you've actually been doing it. So congratulations on that. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. And talk to us a little bit more about, you come from the medical side. And so why do you think that we don't hear enough about diet and lifestyle and holistic ways that we can optimize our fertility? It's just not talked about. I mean, I know it wasn't for me when I went through it, and so many of my clients tell me the same thing.
Oh, Kayla, we should have an hour, I think, just to talk about that missing piece to medical care. And that's for everything. I know you understand this too. It's like, oh, lose weight. Or if you're a diabetic, drop your insulin levels. Here's a handout. Have a nice day. It's like this disconnect of like, we know what needs to be done in the medical profession, but we don't mostly have the time or resources, or perhaps more often than not, the knowledge on how to do that. And it's easy to just kind of, turf people off and refer them. But what if you could sit in your office or your time and have more resources and time to provide them the support they need? Because chances are those referrals, they might not go to that appointment. They get canceled. They get missed because of time factors. They're sitting in your office overwhelmed. You have that precise moment to meet with them and really provide them with high quality care, especially in the reproductive field. I truly feel there is missing links from a multidisciplinary approach. There's room for reproductive doctors. There's room for naturopaths. There's room for acupuncture. There's room for nutrition. We all need to be in this boat together because it's truly what's best for our patients, mentally, physically, all of the things. And so I have seen that, and that has become something I hope to really help change as things change moving forward, and to try to change those tables of how we see and treat reproductive healthcare patients.
I agree for sure. And so how do you think we do that? I know this is a loaded question,
Loaded.
but let's take it from both sides. So as a practitioner, what can we do to help with that? And then as somebody struggling with infertility, what do I need to be doing within my healthcare, with my doctor, with my healthcare provider?
I think as providers, we need to look at expanding and offering services within your clinic. And if that's not feasible for whatever reason, knowing a provider such as Kayla and myself who can do things like that and not being afraid to send them our direction. Once again, there's room for all of us at the table because we know these things work. They do work. There's enough backing. There's enough backing nutrition nowadays for hormone balance. I think that I'm kind of seeing a little shift in that just in the reproductive circle on the medical side, but it's just being open and taking some continuing education. We all have to take continuing education hours. So shift your time, money, and focus over to something like nutrition, hormone balance, go outside of your normal circle and just think outside the box and take a quick class. There's enough free stuff out there too that you could probably find something on, but it's just being open. Just opening your mind to the idea of some of these things and not being so closed-minded, and that's really what I had to do as a provider too, and saw things. I do both sides. I am certified through ASRM, and I am a puzzle hormone coach and Marquette natural family planning, because there's enough room for the two to be there together, because what our overall goal is at the end of the day is to meet the needs of our patient. And we need to meet those patients where they are at. And not every patient is going to be at the same place in their journey. And so having the knowledge from both sides for the patients, definitely advocating for you. If you want to know, let's just say, let's get super basic. You have a question and it feels really busy and really rushed. You're not getting an answer. You ask and you wait and you ask until you have that question answered. You ask the hard questions like, are you open to nutrition or insert whatever complementary therapy, but at the end of the day, as a patient, you can be in full control of your healthcare and you can do the things on the side, because chances are providers know that are like the puzzle hormone method providers are aware of how to blend the two together nicely. Mm-hmm. And so just knowing that you, at the end of the day, are in full control of your healthcare, no matter what route of treatment you're going, and ask hard questions until you get an answer. And if they are resistant or you're not getting responses, consider second opinions and finding a provider that fits you and your needs and meets you where you're at.
For sure. I love that. And I'm a big fan of be your own advocate.
Absolutely.
Ask those hard questions because your doctor works for you, and you guys are a team. And I'm a big fan, like you said, of having that fertility team around you. You obviously need a doctor. You need a health coach. You need a mental health professional. You need, even acupuncture and some of these other modalities. These are things that are going to help you to get pregnant. And that's your main goal. So definitely having that team surrounding you to help in all of these areas. I love that you said that.
My neck hurts from shaking. Yes. I'm like, yes, absolutely. Yeah. It's creating your own multidisciplinary healthcare team and knowing that you can do that, empowering you to do that.
Yes. Yes. And so talk to me a little more about your vision for reproductive healthcare.
Well, it's come to me lately. It's changing. I feel that we need to even reach out into primary care practices and OBGYN offices, which they're more so there, but primary care where they are probably the first point of contact for patients and couples trying to conceive, right? So if you go in for a yearly exam, I think we should be screening to the level of screening for people who may have complications with conceiving, because there's many out there that have had, let's just use PCOS or endometriosis, for example, since they've been in high school. They know they're going to have problems. Nobody, and that was me. I found out later on through my journey that I have endometriosis. And it was found from a visit when he looked through all my records from a visit when I was in college. I had a laparoscopic procedure with a cyst. Never a one time did I get a single ounce of education on endometriosis, how that can impact my fertility. We need to do better in the medical community when we have initial point of contacts with these patients and giving them some proper education, screening, testing, doing all that early on, saying, you know what, maybe you're not ready to have a baby, obviously, in college at this point in time, but when you are, we need to talk sooner than later, because you may or may not have some complications trying to conceive, but there's things we can do now, such as nutrition and supplements to help with those things. And especially with endometriosis, that's lifelong. PCOS, lifelong. There's things we can do right now while you're in college to help with these symptoms. How about we talk about that? But it's just, we're missing this whole front end of individuals when we see them for routine things. Like I said, where we could have policies and procedures in place to screen them and work with them early on.
I completely agree.
Big dream, Kayla.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I created, my Hormone Puzzle fertility certification course, because I saw a need where, certain practitioners weren't teaching this, but it was of no fault of their own, because they weren't taught this when they were in medical school or, college or wherever. So it's that missing link that I think we need to bring these two modalities together. And so the patients, again, get the care they need. So I completely agree there.
You're absolutely right. There was nothing in depth in regards to this when I was in school. It's high level, nutrition, lifestyle terms thrown around a lot, but nothing beyond those terms usually, and maybe, like I said, some continuing education. It's the statement, they don't know what they don't know. So it's really navigating them into a place where they can learn those things.
For sure. So let's talk myths. What are some myths that you might hear around fertility and trying to conceive? And let's debunk a couple.
Oh gosh, there's so many of them. Once again, too. Well, how about you can't conceive over the age of 40? So I just got asked that recently, like not able to conceive over the age of 40, but they've never had, lab work or anything done. I think that's a good one.
Amazing. Yeah, that's, my oldest client was 45. I was 40. I have many people in their mid 40s. And you know what's so crazy too? I can't remember where I read this. You might have heard this too, but the studies that say you can't get pregnant past 40 were done. The last one was done in like 1960. They've never been repeated.
Stop. I did not know that.
This is old data that we're looking at. You can definitely get pregnant in your mid 40s. So
wow.
Somebody tells you that, not true.
Let's do some studies, people. If there's people listening, like I totally have a doctorate degree and I'm into research, but that seems like a big one to tackle. But if you're listening and inspired, let's get some new research out there.
Let's do it. Any other myths that you hear?
Man, well, there's, I think, I'm trying to think, Kayla, you caught me off guard on that one.
Oh, sorry.
There's just so many, like that exercise, well, in general, that like, implementing nutrition, that if you failed treatment, I don't know if this is like a myth, but I see this a lot. Like I have several clients who have failed numerous treatments and they are wanting to take a pause, and their providers are like, sure, fine, take a pause, but, we're going to eventually have to do IVF, But no, they want to step back, learn more about their body, their hormonal system, their signs of fertility, implement some of those new tools that are out there, testing, nutrition, supplements, all of that, and try that route before stepping into even bigger treatments like IVF. So that you can take that time out, work on improving your reproductive system, because no matter what you implement for your reproductive lifestyle or fertility lifestyle will help you into pregnancy and beyond. It's basic, healthy implementations to make you a healthier human.
For sure. And I think that reminded me of a myth that I hear, that you can't help your fertility with diet and lifestyle. And I tell you, yes, you can all day long. I see it with clients, and I'm sure you do too, Tara. So
Yes.
definitely not a true myth. And please do not believe that if you've heard that.
Absolutely. I was just thinking, I did a whole blog here, 5 myths. I think I did a blog post on myths, and now you think I can remember what I put in there? I had to go back and look. I don't even know if I'm going to find it, but I was like giggling. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I did a myth on this.
I love it. I love it. Cool. So we're going to take go ahead.
I was gonna say, I feel like with endometriosis, there's so many myths around that. You know, you have to go on birth control to help your symptoms. When really, like I did a whole month of March, I did blogs and podcasts on endometriosis because I, as an endo patient, was told nothing and educated as, you know, on nothing, and had to really do research on my own. And I've implemented 5 different complementary therapies that have helped more than anything with controlling endo. So I think there's just a lot of myths even around endometriosis.
I love that. So we're going to take a short break and we're going to come back, and I would love to dive into that. What are a couple things that we can do to help us if we do have endo? Because I know a lot of our listeners do, and it's such an underdiagnosed condition, I feel like. But you can definitely do things to help it naturally. So we'll dive into that, as well as I just want to talk more practical tips. What are 2 to 3 things that we can think about doing starting today that's going to help us optimize our fertility? So we'll talk about all that when we come back. Hey y'all, it's Coach Kayla here. I hope you are loving this episode as much as I am. We will be back in just a minute, but first, a word from our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by the Hormone P.U.Z.Z.L.E Society, a women's health hub for fertility, hormones, and the business of coaching. Whether you're struggling to get pregnant with pesky hormone symptoms, or you're working to build a career in the fertility and women's health space, we have you covered. Visit our website at www.coachkayla.com to learn more on how we can help you. Text the keyword fertility to 615-257-8855 for your free fertility meal plan. Hey Tara, welcome back.
Hello.
All right. So let's dive into a little bit of what we were talking about before the break. What are a couple things we can do to help if we have endo?
Yes. So these are things that I have researched, looked into, all the things. Number 1, acupuncture. So that has helped significantly. And I go once a month because I live 120 miles from my acupuncturist. So really, it's not like you have to multiple times a week. Of course, that'd be amazing if you could, but I missed it for 3 months during COVID, and I noticed a difference. I will never do that again. But it's really helping with that, once again, the anti-inflammatory effect and increasing qi and blood flow to your uterus. And that's been studied. There's plenty of research that backs acupuncture for increased blood flow and improved blood flow to the uterus. Number 2, pelvic floor physical therapy. And I was just met with resistance on this on a social media outlet, but you don't know what you don't know, right? So our uterus is a muscle. So therefore, there's enough research out there on what pelvic floor physical therapy can do for you. But we know that endometriosis makes it difficult for those pelvic floor muscles to relax and can cause scarring. So really getting in there and having manipulation and releasing that scar tissue and, just improving the mobility really of the whole pelvic floor in general has significantly helped for me. Supplements, once again, always consult your healthcare provider, right? But since I've learned through hormone testing that I actually have an estrogen excess, which most with endometriosis have, I thought it was a progesterone deficiency because I've been on progesterone supplements like forever when I get pregnant and miscarriage and all of that. But really it was finding out, I have estrogen excess. So I was working with various supplements that have really improved that nausea, fatigue, just the ickiness I get with it, and then the pain that comes with it as well. Nutrition, we got to eat low inflammation. We got to follow a hormonally balanced nutrition plan because that's all about our reproductive system, right? It is very hormonally based. So it's really, I can tell when I am off with my eating, my endo symptoms flare. And so that has been another thing. It's hard to stick with it, but I tell you what, and we're all going to have bad days, right? Like, and it's not even a bad day. You're all allowed to have grace, and you can go to the birthday party and the wedding and eat your favorite things, but it's the next meal or the next day, flipping back to your fertility lifestyle and knowing that it's okay. You don't have to wait till Monday. You can start the next meal or the next day, give yourself grace. You're allowed to have that. It's life. And I love cake, so I'm not going to give cake up.
Right.
Personally.
Right. I know. I always tell my clients, you can have a piece of cake, you can have a glass of wine, do not have the whole bottle or the whole cake.
Right. Yes. Yes. So I love that. Now you said wine. That alcohol gets me too, but I love the wine in the winter and I love the White Clouds in the summer. And I'm not giving them up, but I do moderation with them, especially during my cycle. Cutting caffeine back, that's hard for me too, but I know if I do it at least, leading up to or during my cycle, or maybe it's not every day, just finding what works for your body and knowing whatever your disease or diagnosis may be, what flares it or triggers it, and working with it. And then the new one that I've implemented is a TENS therapy, electrical nerve stimulator. That's really helped with the pain that I have with endo during my cycle. Heating pad, TENS unit, anti-inflammatories. And you know what? Giving yourself grace. If you need to lay in bed and watch Netflix during your cycle, do it, because you have a disease called endometriosis, or, if something's flaring on you, whatever your disease may be, knowing that you're going to have bad days and working around that and just giving yourself grace.
For sure. For sure. I talk a lot about syncing with different foods through our cycle, and that's all about listening to your body and being in touch with what foods are going to aggravate you, what foods are going to benefit you, what lifestyle pieces are going to do the same. So I love that you say that. It's really about knowing your body, knowing what works, and then implementing that. But then still having some fun in the process. If you love the cake, have a little of the cake.
Absolutely. And if you're one that likes to restrict, like that's my husband, go big or nothing at all, then do it. You then don't eat the cake. But
right.
Me.
Right. Me neither. So you mentioned supplements for endo, but what about just in general? Do you have any, maybe one or two that are your favorites? Obviously, always check with your healthcare provider, but these are our educational suggestions.
Yes. So. There you go. I do have top 5. I actually just posted, that was my June freebie, was my top 5 fertility supplements. Vitamin D. Huge. Like for all things, immune system, it's been shown to help with COVID. It's just like, vitamin D is like the Mac Daddy of all things for supplements. Prenatal with folate, not folic acid. That's my guidelines for male and female. So making sure your male counterpart has folate in his as well. CoQ10 is a good one. Probiotic. Must be on that, both of you. It helps with, we all have bacteria that it needs help with that. And then my 5th one, fish oil. That was my other big one. Is fish oil. And my trick, or my hack, I call it, because some people don't like the symptoms or the burps, put it in the freezer. So my trick is putting your fish oil in the freezer, and it eliminates a lot of those icky side effects. And there's some that have a lemon flavoring, or they're like lemon flavored. If you find those, that really helps offset the negative side effects that come along with fish oil.
Gotcha. And I do a little hack with my fish oil. So I do it 1 in the morning and 1 in the evening, and it helps with sleep. It makes me have the best sleep because all that fat, I guess, you're just so satiated.
I'm trying it.
Yeah.
That's my new thing, I think. Because I do have a hard time swallowing some of those. Not swallowing, but taking them both at one time. That's a good idea. I like that.
I love it. All right. So let's switch gears a little bit. I know we're running low on time, but I just wanted to kind of talk about fertility certification and your decision to become a certified fertility coach, as well as, you were already a nurse. So why did you decide to do that? Let's talk a little about that.
Yes. So the thing, once again, as a medical professional, we don't really have much of that business or building your business background. So that was really intriguing to me, was that it had all of the necessary tools to get your business up and going legally in a timely step-by-step approach, which I'm all about that.
Yes.
And so that was super appealing to me, in addition to just the amount of education that came along with it, in the sense of the nutrition. Let's just even use that. Once again, like I said earlier, we didn't get much on that in school. And so it came just loaded with everything. I run through it with my clients. For the most part, if that's a need of theirs, I walk them through this, and it's just easy to be like, not reinvent the wheel. Like Kayla's created something wonderful. You can just walk into on day one, move through her pillars, and have this nice approach to a whole different side of providing support for your patients on a level that's needed and lacking, quite frankly, for reproductive health care.
I love it. I love it. And I know that's why I created it, again, because I saw a need that wasn't there. When I decided to focus on fertility, I was going to go back to college, and I was looking at all these programs, and there just wasn't. I either had a lot about fertility and nothing about business, or a lot about business and nothing about fertility. And I was like, I want to find something that has it all, where I can literally open my doors tomorrow, and there just wasn't anything. So I created it. So that's why.
And we thank you for that.
So what would you tell somebody who wants to become a certified coach or wants to add fertility coaching to their already existing wellness business?
Just jump on the phone with Kayla, talk it over with her, get all those questions answered, really sit down. I have to do the whole pros and cons thing. Like, what was I missing by not having this? What were the downfalls? And really it just came to, I'm a better provider, I'm a better nurse practitioner. Even to my non-fertility patients, some of this knowledge is carrying over in the sense of like nutrition and supplements, and it just expands your knowledge base. And we should always be learning in general, especially in the medical field, but it's just a different way for you to approach some patients that you're going to see, no matter what area you practice in, but especially family practice and those areas where you're encountering these patients in your office, whether you know it or not, because they may or may not be sharing it with you, but it just opens the doors for conversations and other things you can provide them to help navigate them through the different reproductive diseases.
I love that. I love it. So any final thought, or first, where can people find you? How can they work with you?
So you can find me on all social media, Tara B Fertility, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm sometimes on Twitter, not very often. But
me neither.
Yeah, I do have a podcast as well, Hopeful Hints and Infertility Podcast. They're super quick, short episodes just to provide hopeful hints for those going through infertility. And I'm always probably more often found in Instagram stories. That's where you can usually find me hanging out. I do have a group on Facebook, provide one-on-one coaching and group coaching as well to meet your needs.
I love it. And we'll have all that in the show notes, so it'll be really easy to find you. And you have a freebie on your website too. Tell us what that is.
I have an entire freebies page. So every month I download, or I should say I create a download for you on a variety of different things. It's an entire page of freebies. Like I said, the most recent one is actually on the top 5 supplements for men and women. The most popular one is 10 questions you should be asking your reproductive doctor. And so just really empowering you and giving you guys a nice one sheet that you can take with you to your appointments and just have something every month that gives you more knowledge than you had last month.
I love it. Amazing. So definitely we'll put a link to get those freebies in the show notes. Awesome. So before we close, I would love to hear any final thoughts, words of encouragement, anything that you can leave our listeners with.
Yes. So I would love to just empower patients to move forward, knowing that you do have the ability to be in full control. Create your team. You get to pick who's on your team and who's part of that. And then, of course, for any healthcare providers listening, we'd love to have you ask us how you can improve or enhance your practice and really just connect with these patients more, be open to their wants, needs, and desires, and really just hear them, because they deserve to be heard. They're in emotional stages that need to be addressed, and really just high level, provide that high level of care from them from a multidisciplinary approach.
I love that. Oh, thank you so much, Tara. It was so fun having you on the show and learning a little bit more about your story. So thanks for being here.
Thank you so much, Kayla, for having me.
Thanks for being here, and thank you to everybody for listening. And until next time, bye for now. Hey, hang on just one second before you go. I want to make sure that you are aware of all of the amazing free resources that I have for you on my website at coachkayla.com. from a fertility meal plan, a cycle syncing quick start guide, a holistic healing cookbook, as well as master classes, blog posts by me and some amazing experts in the fields of fertility, hormones, and nutrition. So many wonderful resources that will help you on your journey. And I wish there had been something like this when I was going through my 2 years of infertility, but there just wasn't. And so that's why I decided to create all of this for you. So make sure that you go and check it out and you take advantage of this plethora of support that I have provided for you. And spoiler alert, these were some of the same tricks and the same foods that I used to get myself pregnant. Not once, but twice, even after my doctors said that I couldn't. So I know that these things work. Make sure you take advantage of that. And I cannot wait for you to be my next success story. So thanks, love. See you soon. Thanks for tuning in today to the Hormone Puzzle Podcast. Check out the show notes for today's episode at CoachKayla.com. If you like what you hear, please subscribe and leave a review. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you next week.